I did want to ask, I have interviewed quite a few of the candidates, including Legalised Cannabis Party, the Liberal Party's Nick Goran. I've spoken to the Christians Party as well. The Rod Caddy's from One Nation too. I've had a phone call or two with him. All of the minor parties that I've spoken to, including the Libertarian Party, by the way, are promising a full review of the Firearms Act if they are elected. So there could be, after the election on Saturday, a situation where there are quite a number of minor party crossbench people in the upper house of Western Australia, and they can all get together and say, we don't want to go ahead with these laws, but we have to send it to a review. My concern with this is we do not want to wait 4 years for the Parliament to review laws that we were going to be living under from the 31st of March. This is the timeline here. We are getting very close to the wire. And there's been a lot of talk online. I'm sure you're getting a lot of messages too about what are the shooting organisations doing? Where's the legal action? I've taken on that battle of legal action because it's the least I can do, even though I have no skin in the game. I'm not a firearm owner in WA. I transferred my firearms out of here when I hit the road last year. I had to do it, but I still care. I care very deeply about my home state. So I'm trying to get that advice from a King's Council, especially in relation to private property limits. They think that that's illegal. Basically, there's concerns about the storage requirements. 10 mil safes. There's a shortage of that level of safe in Australia. So people will not be able to comply from the 31st of March because the gun shops don't have enough safes to sell to people. So suddenly you're a criminal because you can't adhere to these new laws that we only found out late in the game. I want to get this before a court. That's what I'm doing at the moment. I respect the fact that, Jack, you're fighting in a lot of different battles, and one of them is the Parliament of Western Australia. Are the Shooters, Fishers and Farmers Party committed to a review of the Firearms Act? And are you concerned that that will just take too long and people will be made criminals on the 31st of March and we don't have any other option? Can we wait 4 years for the Parliament to do the job that they're meant to do?
The main thing to look at, history, we can learn a lot from that. Every other state, when they've gone through their firearms reviews, it's taken them 4 or 5 years to implement the changes. And we've got a government here that expects it to happen like that. I mean, hell, if we held them to account on some of their other promises about, infrastructure and, any of the commitments that they've made, if we expected them to operate in that timely fashion, they'd tell us, well, slow down, hold up. Like, you've got to give us time to manage, prepare, and get everything ready. But when it's them dictating to us that we should comply or be unlicensed in a matter of 28 days, is that not a little bit unfair? So the idea of going through and doing a review of the entire act is a joke, because we've already done the review. We've had the review sitting on the damn table for over 5 years. That review, and that was agreed upon by so many people. So I would say that the best thing that we can do is basically put pause on the act. Just go, nah, sorry guys, that shit's out the window. That can sit over there. And until it's sorted out, until the proper consultation, genuine consultation, instead of sit you down in a room and we'll tell you what you think. And if you don't agree, well, you're kicked out of the meeting. And that did happen in some of the early conversations, that someone disagreed and they were asked to leave the consultation group. You go, good work, guys. That's democracy right there. Disagree and get out. So we would be pushing the metaphorical uphill to manage to achieve what we would like to see, which is fall back to the act that actually was in operation and is manageable, and then make sure that review your 2024 act, make sure that you have these like recommendations, whatever, that don't rewrite the whole thing. Just fall back to the 1973 Act, enact the 156 recommendations, with consultation, and that's going to have a fine transition period all the way through it, because it's going to be small piece by small piece by small piece, and it's going to allow people to operate more freely and in a fairer manner than what they are proposing at the moment. I mean, it's completely unfair the way that they're approaching this. It's it's unmanageable. Licensing can't even keep up with it, and the changes to the regulations that they're making nigh on daily. So yeah, it's we'd be we'd like to say that we'll get rid of it completely and bring in the recommendations, because consultation's been done. That's going to be a slow process, and what we have is a genuine problem where we might end up almost with a hung parliament, and this is what they're relying on. Push through as much shit legislation as you can, make a hung parliament so nothing can change, get to the next election, and you sit there and you scream at the others and say it's because of them that nothing changed. It's because of them during the last 4 years. Everyone has suffered of this poor legislation. If we had had just 4 more years, we would have listened to you, and people will believe it. And at what stage has Labor ever listened to the people? We had Roger Cook turn around and say it exactly as, we will put Labor first, not the people, not the people at all. And something that I've always been strong with in the Shooters, Fishers, Farmers Party is, you need to be able to disagree with everyone else in the room. Like, we can all sit there in a committee meeting in amongst candidates and have a chat, and someone can disagree and stand up and be confident that we will listen, and we're going to go, well, hang on a second, that's a good point. Maybe I was being a little bit too extreme in regards to, say, what you should be allowed to do to defend your own property or your own equipment. Like, that it's a real threat. Um, so yeah, we're going to be stuck in a situation. Unfortunately, I feel that we're going to have a stalemate in Parliament that's just going to hurt everyday Australians and only benefit the Labor Party, who are making money left, right, and centre out of this complete joke of a government they've been running. And they're going to be able to sit there and scream and say the other guys didn't do it as well as we did. And well, that's the difference between capitalism and communism. Really, one lot turns around and says you can do it for yourself, and the other says you can only trust us. So yeah, it's I try to be optimistic and hope that we'd get enough people in, and me being number 4 on the ticket, it's almost a bait, for everyone voting above the line. You want Jack in, vote harder, as David said.